Hello and welcome to the huddle and welcome to your post-game report. For the Utah Jazz today, we saw a lackluster performance against the Phoenix Suns, who in the preseason they beat twice out of two times they played them. Bojan Bogdanovic had a terrible night, and that was a big factor. But really, what I'm seeing here is it's not the same Donovan Mitchell so far this year, and it's really rubbing off on the whole game for the Jazz. So Donovan Mitchell, 9 for 23 from the field, which is not great shooting wise. Had 23 points, which looks good on paper, but when you're shooting 23 shots and your superstar is Donovan Mitchell, well, at least in this organization, you are the superstar. You have to be able to make plays and get at least a few more of those shots to go down. Mike Conley had 16 points on the night, but his plus minus tonight was negative 13, as you can see right there. Rudy Gobert had 18 points and negative 9 on the night for him. But that just comes with a loss. It's just unfortunate because we aren't seeing that same Donovan Mitchell that we're used to, the guy who really controls the game. And I said this in our last post-game report. It just doesn't seem like the right fit right now, and he's going to have to step up his game in order to make himself that piece that the Jazz needs like he's done in previous years. So again, just looking all around this roster, we saw pretty lackluster performances around the board. Jordan Clarkson didn't play as good of a game as he's used to. Joe Ingles didn't play very well. Royce O'Neal played pretty well for what he's used to, having 8 points. He was 3 for 6, shooting 2 for 3 from the field. But for the Suns, we had Jay Crowder. He had 16 points, which could be fueled in his return to Utah. Not his first return, but after this free agency where he was getting talk on Instagram about him maybe coming back to the Jazz. It wasn't big talk, but it was there. I think that maybe that fueled this a little bit. Miles Bridges had a big game for them. DeAndre Ayton didn't score much, but he had a big presence in the defensive end with 2 blocks. But overall, we really saw Devin Booker came out and played really well throughout the whole game, hitting clutch shots again and again and again in that last few minutes when the Jazz made that push that they always try to make at the end of games. It's really, really important that the Jazz come out and get a win. We need to establish confidence. We need to be able to really, really show these players that they can win and that they're not going to collapse in that. Well, they didn't exactly collapse in the second half, but they need to be able to play a full game and really understand where they're at as a team and get through the game and get a win. But again, Jordan Clarkson, not the same game as we're used to seeing from him. Georges Niang was pretty terrible tonight, 0 for 2. He only had 6 minutes, but really it should be better. Derek Favors did have a nice night. He had 10 points, 5 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal. I think the story of this game, as well as the other game, is that it's just not the same Donovan Mitchell right now. And until he gets back to that level where he was at, and I saw some shots that he passed up, and he forced passes down low to Rudy Gobert, and that could be why he is getting so many points right now with 18 a game. But when we look at it, he's forcing passes to Rudy Gobert, and I don't know why that is. It's probably for a multitude of reasons, even though the Jazz are trying to get him set up to get really hot in the start of games and start getting finishes early so that he has a strong game throughout. But it's very important that the Jazz can get Donovan Mitchell to that level that he was like in the playoffs. I know it's not going to be like that until the playoffs, but the problem is if he doesn't play like that, then there's not a guaranteed chance that we make the playoffs. I know that it's most likely that we're going to make the playoffs, but Donovan Mitchell has to be able to play full strength through a lot of this season. So that is my word. Make sure if you haven't already to please hit that subscribe button and that like button. I would really appreciate it. And with that being said, we are done. So that has been your post-game report. Goodbye.